Hey everybody, this is Paige from Mosaic Moments, and today I am showing you ideas with journaling, and I do have every level of die here. So you'll see a little bit of each level of dice. So there's level 1, level 2, and level 3. And many of you ask about journaling and how you can use journaling on Mosaic Moments layouts. And I just want to let you know you absolutely can add journaling, and it's not very difficult at all. And there's many different ways. Today I'm going to touch on many ideas, but it won't even be all the ideas. So I'm going to make sure I have an article linked in the description below, at least one of our articles about journaling. But if you go to our blog on mosaicmoments.com, we have multiple articles that show ideas with journaling. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and get started. And I just have this layout mainly because I just wanted to explain any design spot on your page. And it doesn't matter what level you're using. Any design spot can be a journaling spot in reality. And you really can implement journaling any way you want. It's your own page, but any of these design spots can be a journaling spot. So right here I have the 2x4. And really, if you have a page pattern and there is a block where you can't find a photo to fit there, so a 2x4, maybe you don't really have anything that could fit a 2x4. That actually is a great opportunity for a journaling spot. And I really like how it's placed here because it's in the center, so the overall page still feels balanced. I personally really like balance, so sometimes it bugs me if I had a photo here and a journaling block over here. But that is not a problem if you do that. Just for me, I like everything to be journaled, so I like that the journaling spot is in the center here. But again, any design spot really can be a journaling spot. So I have this adorable layout. This is my niece, and just a simple solution here is I just put a little bit of journaling on these two squares. I really had nothing to fit there, and it's really any little spot can work for journaling. So again, right here, these are just 2x2 squares, and I was able to add in a little bit of simple information about this day. Another idea is to make strips. So I make strips that are about 3/8 wide or 1/4 of an inch wide, depending on what you're placing it on. And then I'll just cut them based on how long the words are. So this is a pretty easy idea. I do this a lot on all different levels of pages. Right here, I just felt like I wanted to put, I like handwriting journaling. So this is an example of handwritten journaling. And I like how simple it is, 1x3 spots. It can be hard sometimes to find something to fill that space. And if you just need some simple journaling, those are great spots to add some journaling. And you could find a pen, like a silver or white pen to draw on the navy here, but I also like the idea of just getting another paper strip that's white or gray and writing, putting your handwriting on it. So here is a really fun layout using level 1 dies. This is our 2x3 arrow die. It is a great one if you like to add journaling, especially if you like handwriting your journaling. And what I love about this page in general is that it tells the story. The journaling tells the story. And if you had just looked at this layout with no journaling, you might be confused as to why there's fairy photos and a pumpkin patch area on the layout. That might be confusing. So I added the journaling to explain what was going on here. So it says it's the ferry ride. We're going to the pumpkin patch. I have this upside down because the arrow, I don't know. I felt like if I were to do this again, I probably would not have put this upside down. But it says we went to Surrey, Virginia, and the date. So it sort of explains we went on a ferry ride to the pumpkin patch. If you just looked at the photos alone, you would be very confused. You'd be like, why does this even relate? But it helps tell the story. So that's why journaling can be important, is to help tell the story. And this is a great idea if you don't want to make an entire page, let's say, about the ferry ride. Maybe you go on a lot of ferry rides and you're sick of doing that. This can give you a new idea to actually put two stories on one layout. All right, this is my last level 1 die idea, but these are the wave border dies, and here is our alphabet 5 die set, and this is from, there's a set called Action Border, so the arrows are part of a 1x4 die, but sometimes I'll just take the arrow part and place them freely on the layout. But this is a really fun layout because I took the wave border die and just put the journaling around the waves. You can get inventive with the dies and have a lot of fun with them and play with the design and shapes of them. And another idea is I have the alphabet dies here, but I used black pen on these outer edges to help the letters stand out more. So if you're looking at your letters and you're finding they don't really stand out on your background, particularly I'm thinking of these two light blue areas, then you can put an outline around your alphabet dies, and it's super easy to do. You're just taking your pen and putting it right up against the edge of these alphabet dies. So this is a super fun page, highly recommend it. I loved making this one. All right, now I'm getting into my level 2 layouts. So this layout right here has T-square. So that's these two go in the T-square set, and this is the steps die and the corners. But I just wanted to show you a simple idea with the T-square here. All I did was use some cardstock, and then I used a gold pen to write this information. So I have the location and the month and year over here. I could have even added more if I wanted to. This is really more of a title, but you could add even more writing if you want to. So just one idea is to take a die cut, just like I said, any design spot can become a journaling spot. So this right here, I just took the T-square, cut it with cardstock, which you do want something simple if you're going to handwrite so you can see what you wrote, and basically turn it into a journaling spot. So easy, you can totally do this with pretty much any die. This right here is a really fun one. So I initially was not purposely going for adding journaling on this layout, but what happened was I actually do have a video of this layout if you want to learn more about the bricks die. This is showing the bricks die right here, but this is actually, I think, just 1 or 2 photos of leaves. I can't remember how many I used. I do show it in that video, but the leaves looked really busy, so I decided to break up the design by adding in these cardstock areas where I could journal, and it worked out so good. And the truth is, I love that it helps tell the story a bit more, like why did I even come here and what we did on this little beach. So I really like this idea of if something looks too busy, you can just replace it with some blocks and add your journaling in that, or do that on purpose too. That'd probably be more preferable. But I really like adding a lot of these design spots because it really helps tell the story. So right here is the Soleil dies, and there's 2 different Soleil options. One of them makes 2x2 spots on the grid paper. This is the one that makes 2x6 spots, but they both create the same circle shape. And the 2x6 is a great option, I always say, if you like pattern paper. But it's also a great option if you want to add journaling because there's a lot of spots here. And I actually use the alphabet dies for my journaling in this case. There's enough room for the alphabet dies. Again, you can also handwrite in these spaces. So again, any spot can be a journaling spot. And so here is just one idea I did with the alphabet dies, because this is a die where there's actually room for a really big title. All right, I have 2 whimsy dies because I just love whimsy. And first of all, with any level 2 or level 3 die, if you don't feel comfortable journaling into a unique, we'll say, shape quite yet, you can always journal on a regular block. And this goes with level 2 or level 3. If you have a basic shape like a regular square, regular rectangle that can be cut with the basic dies, that can always be a journaling spot. And unfortunately, I do not have this whimsy layout I wanted to show. I do have a whimsy layout. It's the same exact pattern, and in the center, it's journaling instead of a photo. So that was why I used it as a journaling spot. It was just an easy way. It was an easy place to put in a lot of journaling in particular in that case. But I have two fun ideas with the Whimsy die. This is my first one, and I just love it. I did not know what I was going to do with this one, but I knew. So, this is an About Me page, and I knew if I just left it as just photos with no explanation, nobody was going to understand what was going on. So, I put in some wording, and the wording just it's about things I like. So that's what the journaling is about. If you are on vacation, you could write about different things that happen during the week or, something that explains each of the photos. So I just love doing this. Again, it's super easy. I just take a pencil and write the journaling that'll fit in around the curved areas and just follow it and then go over it with a black pen and erase the pencil marks. So it's super easy to do. And I think it looks really fun and cute in the end. Definitely recommend doing that. This is another one. I did not make this one. This one was made by Tammy Potter. And some of the shapes like Whimsy are pretty easy to type into. And I have two videos that I will, if you click on the top right corner, one will show up and then I'll have another one show up in a little bit. But one of them is about how to type in unique shapes. And the other one is just typing in a regular block. So I'll give you a link to those two videos. I think if you're interested in learning how to type up your journaling, those are two videos to go look at. This one's pretty easy though. So you can see there's this curved area, but Tammy did not actually do the journaling in the curved area. But if you were to cut that off, that curved part area, you have this rectangular area. So sometimes when you're looking at the dies and you see a basic shape, you can just say, oh, there's this kind of rectangular area I can either handwrite in or type up. And obviously on the computer, you'd want to consider leaving space. So you want to take a ruler and see what the width of this is and then say, okay, this area I shouldn't have any journaling and I'm going to print this area, if that makes sense. I hope that makes sense. If not, you can ask me in the comments below. But I wanted to show you this idea that you can absolutely type up your journaling for level 2 and level 3 pages, and I'm going to show you some more examples of that. But again, this one was pretty easy because there is that basic rectangular shape right here, as long as you leave enough room to cut out this curved area. All right, earlier I talked about the paper strips I make, and this one has a lot of them. And something I really like to do with both level 2 and level 3 layouts, especially if they have areas like this that are pretty big, that's a great opportunity to add in these paper strips. I think this idea is really fun and it looks very unique. I think in this case, the journaling fits with the overall style of the layout. So earlier on my level 1 page, the strips were cut at 3/8 of an inch, but these were cut 1/4 of an inch, so they're a little bit thinner. And I did that because I needed to add a lot of journaling. There was a lot of things that went on today and I wanted to add in a lot of details, but this is a really fun way to do it. So I would say give it a try, especially if you like handwriting. Basically what I do is I cut a strip that's 1/4 of an inch wide, and then I write in it, and then I cut the pieces. So, and then obviously you want to make sure the pieces are short enough to fit within your die space. If they're too long, I just snip it with scissors and to see the Nutcracker ballet, for example, that would have been too long. So I just cut it where it says Nutcracker and glued that and the next part down. So super, super easy to do, and it makes a fun layout. All right, this is my last level 2 layout, and I did save it for last because this is one of my favorite pages I've made. It's a year in review layout, and I had a lot to write. And one easy thing, I highly recommend getting this kind of paper if you really like level 2 and level 3. You, of course, can do this with level 1. But if you like to handwrite and you want to be able to write, you want to be able to write accurately, I highly recommend getting some pattern paper that looks like lined paper or graph paper. I believe this one was from Simple Stories, but if you go in any place that like scrapbook.com, I'm sure you'll be able to find it. But it makes journaling so much easier, especially when you're working with odd shapes. And I have a level 3 layout. I'm going to show this idea again, but I just love this overall page. I love the journaling. So I have the photos all the way around, and in the middle is all the journaling because there is a lot. And again, I just love this graph paper. It just made things so much easier. If you look at how much I wrote here, that is a lot to write without any lines. So if you plan to write a lot particularly, I highly recommend investing in some pattern paper that has lines. All right, now I'm getting into the level 3 dies. And this is one of the pages where I had to work with an odd shape. And again, I have that video that shows you how to type up journaling in odd shapes. But this was similar to the Whimsy die one. So this shape, if you really look at it, it's basically a circle that's been cut off on the top and bottom. Now, I did not journal when I put this, so you can do this in Word. In the video, I believe I show you how to do it in Word, but there's other programs, whatever typing program you have that'll allow you to create shapes right in the program is the best one to use for journaling. And basically what I did is I measured this out because basically I didn't really try to write the journaling in a circle shape on my computer. What I did was I was like, I kind of have this square area. So I can make my journaling like kind of, it's not really a perfect square, but it's more of a chunky rectangle. So as you can see, I didn't make the shape of the type circular or anything. It's basically in this chunky rectangle shape right here. And so I just figured out the measurements and then was like, okay, how can I get a rectangular type block in this shape? So that's what I did. And anytime you want to type your journaling, you do need to take your measurements very carefully. So anyway, go check out that video to learn more about that process. But this is actually the charmed dies, by the way. And yes, you are able to fit in journaling even in the level 3 dies. I don't recommend adding journaling, maybe if you're going to handwrite it, but if you're going to type it, I don't recommend putting it in little tiny spaces like here. But if you have that one big space, it's a great spot to add journaling. Here I actually have a small spot for journaling. This is the on the dot dies, and I decided to use this circle here. So in some programs, you can create a circle shape. So if I'm on Word, I can create a circle shape that's measured to the same dot and then type. And I won't print out the circle, but I'll print out the type and then put the die over my journaling and obviously get that shape through the die. So I hope that makes sense. You can go into your program, make the same size circle as this, and then place your journaling within that circle space to make sure when it prints that it's going to fit on the die cut, okay? So this is a fun one. This is basically, I just I had 3 circles here and I decided just to use one of them for journaling. Another idea, this is the dial die, and what you can do is just use another die. So here I just have a circle die from this scallop is from our scallop frame die set. So I obviously didn't put in the frame part in, but I kept in the scallop and the little layering circle that comes with it. And I use it as a journaling spot. Even though I didn't really use the frame, I'm able to use other pieces as a journaling spot. I just hand wrote in this one. So if you feel like you don't feel comfortable adding journaling in other parts, you can always add another basic die shape. And in this case, I layered it in the center here and right on top of it. Here's one where I was able to use the alphabet dies. You can do the same look with Puffin Stuff. And you can find, so here I have these 4 triangles and the X factor. This is the 3x4 X Factor dies here, and all together this is the X Factor layout. And I was able to fit, the words were small enough, I was able to fit in the alphabet dies, but you can also hand write in those shapes. So just another reminder that any shape can be a journaling spot. My thing is, like I said, I just like things to be balanced. So even if I didn't have journaling here, if I might try to have journaling in two of the spots or something like that. So again, any spot can become a journaling spot, even if it's an unusual shape. All right, this is the last layout, and this one again has that lined paper. It's probably the same lined paper, and 30 degrees has a lot of awkward shapes going on. It would be kind of hard to print with this one, and I had a lot of things I wanted to say. You could use, let's say, the alphabet dies or something. I have another page I really wanted to show, but I do not have it with me. There is an idea with any kind of die like this. I have journaling that goes into this section. It looks really neat. So that is one fun idea you can do. And some dies allow that if it has kind of like this frame. So 30 degrees is a great one where I can just add journaling in this space actually. But I do love here I have the lined. I had a lot to say in this one. So I use my lined paper. And what's nice about it is you're able to cut it into the correct shape very easily. I don't have to worry about measuring and trying to print an accurate thing on the computer, right? This lined paper is amazing for me. I just love that I can cut it out and all the lines are there and I'm able to just write on it and all looks good and clean and straight. So, and all together, I just love this layout. It is, a lot of people really like this layout actually, and I was really surprised, but I'm thinking part of it's because of the journaling. It's a great idea. So get yourself some line journaling. If you want to type, go watch that video. And yeah, and again, go check out those articles. This wasn't all of the ideas, but I hope in today's video you gathered a lot of ideas and you, for your next page, you won't feel like I can't add journaling to my Mosaic Moments layouts. You absolutely can. Anyway, thank you so much for watching this video. Let me know if you would like to see more layouts with journaling in the comments below, and I will see you next time.